This started as a flat piece of anodized aluminum, but by the end of this video, it becomes a fully custom watch I made for my wife after nearly 30 years together. And the best part? You can do this too. I'll show you step by step how to design and engrave your own custom watch dial using a fiber laser. If you're new here, this is episode 1 in a series where I walk you through how I make original watch dials and timepieces. If you've ever thought about making your own watch dials, or you are just interested in how I make original timepieces, then this series is for you. So stick around and I'll show you how it's done. So today, we're starting simple, and everything starts with the material. For this watch build, I am using anodized aluminum for the dial. In future episodes, I'll also be using brass and stainless steel along with some other materials. But anodized aluminum is honestly the easiest place to start. It already comes in a variety of colors, so you don't have to paint the dial. It engraves cleanly, it's lightweight, it's affordable, and the anodized layer is corrosion resistant. That's huge when you're just starting out. But it's not perfect. There are downsides to using aluminum. The anodized layer is thin. If your settings are too aggressive, you can burn right through it or scorch the material, and it bends and scratches easier than other materials. In certain cases, you can't go extremely deep with engraving without affecting the surface finish or its durability. And if you damage it, you usually can't polish it out and start over. So yes, it's beginner friendly, but it still demands some level of care. Before I can engrave or laser engrave anything, I need a design. I like to sketch my ideas out on paper first, before going into LightBurn. That's the engraving software I use for everything I'm engraving. For this dial, I built the entire layout directly in the software as opposed to using a template, which is another option. The different color lines represent the different engraved or cut layers. The rose design is just vector art that I modified and cleaned up in my Photos app. You just download it into LightBurn, drop it in place, and make the adjustments where needed. The dial itself is only 28.5 millimeters, and that's pretty small. And at that scale, every line matters as you're building your design. Okay, a little bit about the settings. Generally speaking, you'll have power, speed, and frequency settings to manage, and there's no universal preset. One way to help figure out your settings is to do test grids for each new project. This will save you time and wasted material. Keep in mind that there will be some trial and error depending on what you're wanting to achieve. Everything you see here is very basic for a laser marking, except for the cutting portion. You can fine-tune your settings as needed. These settings are probably overkill for this cut. I want to stop here for a moment to briefly discuss the difference between laser marking and laser engraving. A fiber laser does both. These two terms are different in meaning, though they are often used interchangeably. The term laser engraving means the actual removal of material or deeper cutting into the material, whereas laser marking refers to applying images or text onto the surface of the material with hardly no removing of material. Laser marking essentially changes the appearance of the surface of the material, often via discoloration or annealing, yet it's permanent. Before I engrave the real dial, I want to do simulated previews and test runs. I'll start by running a simulated preview inside the software to ensure that engraving happens first and cutting second. It also gives me a little bit of an idea on how the engraving may look, but not always, and that is why I test on scrap or test materials, ideally using the same material that I plan on using for my final project, whenever possible. Once I am happy with my test runs, then I can do the real engraving. Once everything is in place and aligned, we can press start. As the fiber laser makes its designated design path, the design begins to appear, and you have instant contrast without painting. It's one of the most satisfying parts of the process, especially with anodized aluminum, because the contrast shows up immediately. No painting required. You can pretty much stop right here and you'll have a quick and easy custom watch dial. With the dial complete, it's time to mount it to the movement. There are a few ways to attach a custom dial made from scratch. You can use dial adhesives, dial dots, or traditional dial feet. I'm installing dial feet for this build. Now typically, I like to use a 0.3 to 0.5 millimeter thick piece of material depending on the design. But I have been experimenting with thinner materials for layered designs that I'll be sharing with you in upcoming episodes. So I am using a thinner material for this project, and this material is only 0.21 millimeters. Because I am using thinner material, I want to add a back layer for durability, and I will be using brass. This also provides more material to the dial so I can properly add my dial feet. I'll have an episode just on dial feet, so stay tuned for that one as well. For the hands, I decided on dark blue to contrast the lighter blue dial, but I could have used light silver or gray as well. Let me know in the comments below if you would have preferred silver or gray hands over the dark blue. I am also engraving the case back with a personal message and one of our wedding photos. Again, I just downloaded the photo into the LightBurn software. Now the photo engraving is not going to look like the photo here, as you can see in the preview. I've experimented with different settings and techniques that are typically recommended for engraving a photo into stainless steel, but I think the size of the image may be too small to achieve a clean result. I'm not really sure. This is the first time I'm attempting to fiber laser a photograph onto such a small area. But if you use a fiber laser, let me know in the comments below if you have any suggestions. Again, I'll want to do test runs because there are no second chances with your case back. I did multiple test runs and I like this image the best because it looks good from multiple angles. I also want to sand the case back. I don't want to engrave onto a shiny surface, as that could cause the laser to reflect back on itself and potentially damage the laser. Alright, Well, not too bad. However, I did discover a mistake. I'm about 2 millimeters off-centered. Now, my wife is not going to care, but if this was for a client, that just wouldn't fly. And it just goes to show why it's important to double check your settings, your positioning, your framing, which is what I forgot to do before pressing start. My wife really liked this 1970s case design, and she liked the size. So this is the case we're going with. I also picked out a couple of different straps and a steel bracelet that I'll surprise her with. And this is the final result, from flat metal to a fully functional custom watch. This is episode 1, and in the next episode, we'll go a little deeper and explore a modified dial that inspired an entirely new design that I'm looking forward to sharing with you. If you want to follow the full process from start to finish, subscribe, and I'd love to hear your comments. Visit us at watchhobbychannel.com for more watchmaking information and resources. Thanks for watching. Until next time.